Is your heart a hotel? It's an interesting question to think of your heart as a hotel. I used to work in a hotel some years ago, and I was a night auditor. I'd come in, and my shift was 11 to 7. So my job was to turn the day over, to charge all the people, to check in any late guests who were still coming in, and to deliver newspapers to every one of the rooms and receipts. And let me tell you, there was 300 rooms in there, and it wasn't fun, especially at 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. I saw a lot of things in that time. Saw a lot of travelers that came in looking for somewhere to lay their head. I started to think, a hotel is a form of a home. Looks like it, resembles it. I mean, even though you think you own it, you really don't. You just own the time. A person comes in with a payment, and based off of the value of the room, they make their payment, and from there, they have access for a time. Can you imagine this being your heart? People like the idea of you being a home. They like the idea of you being a husband or being a wife. They like the feeling of it. They pretend that they own it for a moment. But soon, they check out. And the room is dirtied and has to be cleaned again and readied for the next guest. People sometimes take advantage of our hearts because we let them. They place a value on our heart, and people come into our life and they dirty our heart and spend time in our heart, and then they check out. And we have to take our heart and get it cleaned up so it's ready for the next person. But for many of us, every time someone checks in and checks out, they take a little bit more of us with them. And so for the next guest, you find that there's something missing that the last guest got to experience, and your patience is a little bit more limited, or your kindness is a little bit more limited, or your love is a little bit more limited, because every person that came in took something of value. And that gets tiring. It gets lonely to feel like your heart is a resting place for weary travelers, but no one willing to truly purchase you, to make you a home, to give you that value that only a home can provide, that ownership that only a home can provide. But the awesome thing about God is that He's the only one capable of redeeming our hearts, because He made our hearts. And He'll take our broken heart that's been worn down from so many different people, from years of giving it away, and He will redeem it. And the redeeming and redemption definition means to gain or regain possession of with exchange of a payment. So with Him giving His life on the cross, He took our heart and He said, I've made a payment for this heart because it's valuable to me. And there's a lot of people who didn't see the value, but God's like, I see the value of your heart, and I'm going to pay for it. And then He cleans it up. Because a lot of the reason why we pick the people that we pick and the relationships that we do is because we don't see value in our own life and in our own heart. So God has to put His hands into our heart and wash us and clean us until He can see Himself and His own reflection in our hearts. And then we begin to open ourselves in a way that is associated to our value rather than associated to our brokenness. How many people have you chosen out of brokenness rather than wholeness? I know I did. I chose a lot of people out of my own brokenness. And I'm sorry for that. And I had to ask God to forgive me, and I had to pray for those people that I hurt, that they wouldn't carry me on through their life, that in their next relationship, they would be able to love as if they were never hurt. We got to be careful of the time that we spend in people's lives and the impressions that we make on their hearts. Sometimes you got to go write someone a sorry letter and say, listen, I'm sorry for how I treated you. You didn't deserve that. You know how many people never got that sorry? And watching people just move on in their lives and take new pictures and engagement pictures and act like they didn't really jack up someone's life. Take responsibility. No more allowing your heart to be a hotel. Your heart is a home. And there is somebody who wants to buy that home. Somebody who wants to live there and decorate inside that heart and beautify that home. I believe it. I believe it for myself. I believe it for you. Hey guys, listen, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Check it out. Today's intimacy shout out of the week is none other than entrepreneur, makeup artist, poetry artist, boss, diva, and queen, Miss Paris Crosby. Listen, Paris does fantastic work in the community. She does work for herself, and she's a fantastic makeup artist. Her information is below, email and number, so that you can book her. And on top of that, she even has her own product. Check this out. This girl got a selfie ring light with her name on it. So for all of you selfie addicts who love to take selfies, all you gotta do is boom, and it has 3 different levels. Bam and bam. So to take the dopest selfies. So go ahead and pick one of these up, give her a call, email her. We want to give her some love. So if you enjoyed today's episode and it spoke to you and you feel like it'll speak to someone else, please don't forget to tag, share, and subscribe. This is intimacy. Intimacy with God, intimacy with yourself, and intimacy with the one you love. Shalom.